Welcome back, family. It's here. We're on Monday, November 18th, 2024, and we're going to be hitting the cover price top 20 for this week. And it's got some interesting books on here. A couple, of course, first appearances, a couple books that completely disappeared from last week's list, as we knew they would. And one that I'm very surprised is not on the list, but I'm sure will be next week. And we'll talk about that one as we go. We got Stinkerbuds checking in first, saying, "Sorry, I missed the meetup, but I hope you all had a good time." Actually, it was actually just Robert and I. It was a really good meetup. We had a blast, and we found out something about Google Meets. Is they give you a 1 hour time limit when it's a group of people, but if it's just two people, there's no time limit. So if you ever want to use Google Meet, whatever, as just a video phone call, you don't have a time limit. You could use it, one-on-one to talk to anybody is for nothing. So it's cool. All right. So yeah, and Robert pulled out some really cool books out of his pull box, and the one that I think is really good is he got the first cover appearance of Muse, which I still think is going to have another little resurgence on the hot list again once we see Muse in the trailer for the new Daredevil series. Looking forward to that. All right, so let's get right into this, shall we? We got 20 books to cover on the new CovrPrice top 20 list. And let's hit number 20 right off the bat, shall we? Amazing Spider-Man, number 300, first appearance of Venom. Is it really? I guess, yeah, because he had 298 and 299, but 300 was the first full appearance. And it's also a very, very iconic and very commonly homaged cover. Let's see. We got trend of the price of this is down a little bit. Now, I do have a copy of this. I got myself a nice, I think it's just a nice looking 8.0. I don't want to pay the 9.8 price of a 2352, 9.6, 744, which is down from FMV of 810. And the 9.8 looks like it's down about $100. I think this actually may drop even further, and for two reasons. One, it is one of the most populated CGC books there is. There's just a ridiculous amount. I mean, it's like 15,000 CGC books, and that's just CGC. You've seen, not including your CBCS, PGX, the EGS, and all the others, and how many rare raws there are out there. So 9.4 is holding at about the FMV. Same thing with the 9.2, 9.0. It's the high grades that have really dropped down in price, which is, I guess, nice. The 8.0 is actually selling a little bit higher, 375. Okay. 7.5 has gone up. It's so I guess it's kind of scrunching the prices. The lower ones are going up, and the higher ones are coming down. Near mint raw is going for 275. Now, let's be honest. If you find a reputable dealer selling a book that is a near mint 9.4, 9.0 to 9.4 for 275, right? And FMV is 442. So God love the person that got that book. I hope he really does have that grade. The 275 is what you would pay for. Oh God, I'm trying to find it. Here we go. A 6.0 in a slab book. 9.0 is 480 and 9.4 is 630. So that person got a nice deal. This is, a book that everybody, this is like one of those, I can't say grail. It's not a grail book, but a lot of people just consider that they join the club, the ASM 300 club. There you go. I'll never join the Mile High Club, but I did join the ASM 300 club. I think that this book is going to drop down a little bit in price, but overall, it's always going to have a lot of value just because it's such an iconic book. McFarlane's starting his run, 298, bringing in the character, a highly homaged cover. Everybody knows it. Everybody wants it. I'd wait for it to drop just a little bit further now that the Venom movie is finishing up in the movie theater. And, get yourself a copy. Number 19 on the list, we have New Mutants, number 98. See, we got all these big books right at the end of the list, which means they're getting ready to drop off, which means once they drop off the list, that's when the prices really start to drop, and you got to really pay attention to the market. So we've got the first appearance of Deadpool now. 9.6 is at 450. The 9.8 last sale at 995. We're under 1,000, as I said we would be, and we're going to be down to 900 in a few months. 9.4 is at 375. And again, those other grades are holding values. It's those top grades that people are just pulling back on a little bit. If people didn't sell the books during its hype, if you had a 9.8 as a dealer and you're trying to sell it and it didn't sell for $1,000 during the high point, the hype point, you don't want to hold this book forever. You want to move it. You want to be able to take the money that you get and put it towards other books and, just constantly turn over inventory. That's how stores and dealers stay in business. So if it's not selling at 1,000, then they may have to bring it down to 975, 950, whatever, just whatever it takes to just try to sell it. Dealers are not going, if you see a sell for 995 on eBay, remember that that's a 14% commission that goes to eBay. So $140 goes to eBay. That means that dealer is only walking away with about $860. Keeping that in mind, if you go to a show and you see somebody with a 9.8, they have to pay for the table and everything. I get it, but if they're selling other books, you may be able to get the book for say $925. Bear in mind that they still had to set up and do all the work and pay for the table, so it's not like it's free, but they're not paying a 14% commission to eBay. Use that in your negotiations. Or wait a little bit longer, it'll come down more in price. Werewolf by Night, Red Band #4, the Sergio Davila design 1 in 10. And this is funny because I didn't even pay attention to this book. And it's a 1 in 10 ratio, which is not that high. It's a red band and it's going for $12. Okay, so a 1 in 10 going for $12. Big whoop. Who cares? It's a cool looking cover, but I guess the only reason it's on the list is because of quantity of sales, because a 1 in 10 polybagged book going for $12, just slightly above ratio, is nothing really to get excited over. But it is quantity of sales that is, popped it up onto this list. I see that the cover A is going for $5. The Andre Brezen is going for $4. So if you want the cover, try to get it for $9, but otherwise it's nothing really spectacular about it. This is last week's book based on sales, I guess, but it's not going to go anywhere. Kenneth, welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, sir? So coming in next, we have Absolute Batman issue #1, the Jim Lee version from October 9th. And again, this is one of my favorite covers of the when it first came out. I do love that cover itself. But it is down 2%, which is interesting. I think so we've got Near Mint plus $20, Near Mint regular at $20, but they're pre-selling the slabs at $65. So that doesn't equate to me. If you can get a slab for $65, then the raw should be closer to about $13, $14. After the cost of grading and everything else, and the chance that you're taking of not getting a 9.8, I think those raws are going to come down. This kind of reminds me of the Doom book, where the cover A was okay, but the cover B was fantastic. And then you also had the Maria Wolf and everything else, but the cover A, when people ordered it, they were picking the covers that they liked the most, which as a result, cover A was not ordered enough, and there were not enough copies of it. That's why it shot up in value. The Absolute Batman #1 is we'll be hitting that later in the list because it's still up here, guys. That being said, though, I think this one is going to come down a little bit just based on the fact that the 9.8s are selling for $65. I don't see the raws holding $20. Next on the list, we have a book that always comes up every time somebody talks about Daredevil and Punisher being in the same series. Whenever there's any kind of mention about the two of them coming together, this book always pops up on the list and it spikes up in price. And then the moment passes and the book drops back down again. So hence, this is not the time to buy it. We have a top sale in 2023 of $400 for 9.8. Now the most recent sale is $199. So it's already half off, even in the hype All right. $80 for a 9.6. And the near mint raws are going for 27. Near mint raw, I would go for that all day long. Um, this There is a newsstand version of this, I believe. Yes, there's a newsstand, there's a Mark Jewelers, and of course there's a facsimile. It's a really good cover. I believe this is a Miller cover still at this point. I know Miller was drawing. Um, yeah, no, Miller was definitely still drawing at this point. Um, Very, very well known cover as well. But this is just not the right time to buy it. Um, we're going to be having more coming out with the trailers soon, and then the series. So expect this book to shoot up a little bit more in price and then settle back down again, as this book always does. Um, just avoid the roller coaster. Wait for it, or if you can, just get yourself a nice near mint raw for $27. You can't really go wrong with that. If you can find yourself a copy that might have a chance at a 9.8, boom, you got it made. Or if nothing else, get the facsimile and read the series. It's good. Next up on the list, we have the Absolute Wonder Woman, Dan Panosian, 1 in 25. This was my favorite cover from the Absolute Wonder Woman's number ones. This has actually gone up a little bit. The 9.8 pre-sales are now up to 145. And the Raws, Near Mint Plus selling for 60, Near Mint regular selling for 69. So apparently this is actually getting a little traction and going up in price. It is now at 2.5, almost 2.5 times the ratio price. But the problem is, Absolute Batman came out first. Everybody feels like they missed it. So then everybody jumped on the next one that came out, which was the Absolute Wonder Woman, and then the Absolute Superman. And as a result, I think this is kind of like the those red bands, where once the first one came out, stores ordered a bunch of them so they didn't miss them. And I think there's going to turn out to be more copies of this than people are anticipating. And I don't think it's going to hold this value. I think the 125 is going to come back to about $90, 85 to $90 on the 9.8, and the raws are going to settle at closer to 25 to 30. That being said, though, it is still a gorgeous cover, and I will be looking for this in the future, but not right now. Next on the list, we have, there it is, Absolute Batman. It did not make the top 10, but it's still on the list. Still showing a little bit of steam. I see an upward trend. The 9.8s, though, have continued to drop. We're down to $70 because everybody's sending these in for pre-screens, and they're getting them back, and the market is getting flooded. Near Mint regulars are going for 26. Near Mint Plus for 20. As I don't trust Near Mint Plus listings. If you're that sure it's a 9.8, then why didn't you send it in? So I've seen people with books that look like they've been through a shredder. And it's like, hey, it's Near Mint. Shut up. Anyway, I always go by the 9.0 to 9.4. That's more reputable dealers will never guarantee a 9.8. They're just going to sell you. We're going to give you the best quality available. If this is still dropping and it's $70 for a 9.8, I expect this to go a little bit further down, 55.60, which means the raw is going to also drop, probably hitting closer to 18 to 20. So just hold off on. Oh, this is the foil. I'm sorry. This is the foil. There's too many variants. Yeah, I definitely would hold off on the foil because some of those foils are going to come back as 9.9s, and that's going to really screw up the market. I would just avoid this one altogether. Speaking of avoiding altogether, jeez, Captain America number 230, the regular edition, and this particular scene is exactly a scene that we see with a red fist and Sam Wilson holding the shield in the trailer. So since we have a carbon copy of a scene, which used to be on a comic book, now everybody wants the comic book, which means absolutely nothing. And what's funny is the price has actually gone up. It's gone up. 9.8 now hitting $500. Oh my God, are you people crazy? Near Mint selling for 45. Near Mint Plus selling for 80. So these people are practically guaranteeing a 9.8, and they're selling it for $80, and people put it into a slab and charge you 6 times that price, more than 6 times. Oh my God. I'm hoping that they've got some prices mixed up with the, oh wow, there's not even a newsstand to this. Because it is a newsstand, 1979. They have the Whitman edition and they have the UK price. Whitman has that diamond at the top, and it's still only 35 cents. Wow. Nobody really, no, no. This movie is a. I'm worried about this movie in the first place. I think this movie may have a good chance to, let's just say, not do well. I don't want to say flop, but not do well. And it's sad because I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series, but I'm really worried about that movie. Um, let's see where it goes, but uh, I would much rather err on the safe side and not buy a book that is a copy of one specific scene in a movie that might not be good. And even if it is good, it's a one specific scene. Who cares? Um, there are scenes that were in that are covers that are in Deadpool Wolverine that spiked up and are already dropping. There's scenes in just about every movie. Um, there are scenes that were very specifically copied in Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, I'm not saying uh, New World Order is going to be as bad as Love and Thunder, but it's I don't think it's going to be good. And once it does, I'm afraid of all these books. So, me personally, I would avoid this one like the plague. I'm really afraid 6 months from now, people are going to be, why did I spend the money on this? Next up on the list, interesting. Star Trek Lower Decks. I've actually never even watched this. It's an animated series, and they apparently IDW brought it to comics, and this is the 1 in 10 ratio variant. It just came out last week. It's a Star Trek book, so I expect stores probably ordered a decent amount of copies. Probably got about 2 of the 1 in 10s per store. Highest raw sale was at 15, and it is currently selling for about 12. So again, right about ratio variant, ratio price. So, eh? I just love when you do these weekly videos to tell me what I should rush out and buy immediately. Pretty much nothing. If it's on the hot list, it's already too late. That's the point. But I mean, there's still some books here that, I think there are a lot of books that are on the list are ones that are going to drop down tremendously and stay down forever. And I think there are books that are on the list that are at a little bit of a peak, but they have this sine wave almost, as you would say. And we know that right now is not the right time, but maybe in 3 months we can catch it here and then sell it before the next peak. So let's get back to the list. Again, it's a 1 in 10 ratio variant of a very specific book that I don't know if it's even going to have much of a following, and it's selling for rate about ratio variant, ratio price. So this is another one of those meh, who cares? And I think, in my opinion, that if you bought this book for $12 in a year, you'd be lucky to sell it for $12. It might have a value of 12, but nobody's going to be looking for this book at all, in my opinion. Absolute Batman, the number one, the blank edition. This is great for those people who love to get sketch art done. And a lot of times the sketch variants do sell pretty well. And this one will be no exception. Now, it's not bad. It's $10 for a near mint and 17 for a near mint plus. Do yourself a favor. If you're getting this for artwork, don't bother trying to get yourself an absolute perfect 9.8 raw, because most likely the person that's going to draw on it is going to knock it down a grade or two anyway. Just enjoy the artwork that you get and worry less about the grade. You will find that there'll be certain artists that draw Batman fantastically, or maybe even some of these artists will be at a show and taking commissions, and there'll be somebody at the show selling these things for a ridiculous price because once you're there, it's like being caught in the rain in New York City. All of a sudden, you see some vendors out there selling umbrellas for $30. So right now it's going for 10, and the highest raw price was 25. That might have been somebody even selling it at the show. Who knows? Um, me, if you like getting artwork, I don't think it's a bad idea to grab a couple, one or two of the $10 versions, because in the long run, it's a great canvas. And I don't think that this is going to drop below 10 because even artists themselves love to grab up these and so they can do stuff and sell it at shows. So the sketch blanks usually sell pretty well and hold a minimal amount of value because it is a great canvas. Oh, that's halfway. All right, so let's take a quick moment to say thank you to all our YouTube members and our Patreon members. This is where we just take our little 15-second break and pay homage to all those that help support the channel. But don't go anywhere because we're going to be back with the top 10 right after this. Okay, we're back and we're going to be hitting the top 10. And we got a nice little spicy one right off the bat. And it's funny because I don't have a cover A, but I've got some of the other ones that are even hotter. We're going to be talking about Mark Spear's Monsters #1. This is from Keen Spot Entertainment. And this book just, one way or another, there's just controversy and different things going on with this book and the other printings that just keep it in the news. And as a result, the cover A is doing pretty well. The raw is now selling for last recorded sale $45 for a raw. I see Nearman Plus selling for 75 and 9.8s pre-sales are up to $150. I don't think a lot of people ordered these. So this has gotten to the point where I don't even know if it's a good story. But what I do know is that this is one of those books now that everybody wants and not everybody ordered. So demand is definitely outweighing supply. Um, remember, this is the book that had the Bridezilla cover, which is still holding value. I see the sales of this is still at $73. And now we have another one, which is the Halloween version. It's got to be refreshed. I'm sorry. And there's a variant of this book, which apparently the arm, the shoulder of the girl has a mole on an error. Now, I have no idea how many were printed. I know I have seen sales up to $200 for the mole error. Even the regular one is going for $11. Now, I see the more recent sales are going for like 55, 60, 70, somewhere in that range. So it's still not a terrible book, that mole variant, but I think that's going to come down once people get a handle on how many there actually are. A lot of great covers on this. Plus, we just passed Halloween, so it just keeps keeping this book in the news, which is why the cover A is going for as high as it is. Once all this stuff dies down, I think the cover A will also die down. I don't think the cover A itself is going to go any higher than it currently is. I think it's going to drop down. I'm thinking it's going to sell probably about 28 to 30 for a raw, and the 9.8 probably about 100. It's Keen Spot, so I don't know the printing quality. What's really interesting, though, in case anybody's interested in knowing, is last week, 2 weeks ago, the winner of our new comic book day, I had 4 books to choose from, and I had ordered 2 copies of the Monsters #1 second print, the Trick or Treat issue. And It was Ryan Riley that won, and he even said in the chat, "I don't know which books. What do you think?" I said, "Well, I think personally, I like the Halloween issue and the Hughes variant of the Spider-Man is a really cool cover." He's like, "Yeah, sure, send me those too." Well, the books are in the mail, and that's all this news breaks about the mole. So I messaged him like, "Dude, as soon as that book comes in, you got to check to see if it has a mole." He messaged me back because I got a mole. I'm like, "Awesome!" And then I checked the one I got myself. I got a mole too. Yes. So it's nice to know I got a mole. Yay. But again, the cover A on this book, I think, is going to drop down after all the hype on a lot of these books in general goes down, unless for some reason the story really does take off and or they have more controversy on issues 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I don't see this being the next um something is killing the children, if that's what you're wondering. But again, this it's become such a phenom news wise. It's always going to have some kind of value. Just hold off on it until it drops a little bit until some of the other news drops. Who knows? You got to get Mark Spears Santa Claus, and that'll be the next popular thing. Next on the list, hey, we've got that Absolute Wonder Woman on the list. Still on the list. It's and it's the second one in the Absolute. The Batman came up first, Superman afterwards. Actually, I think it was Ultimate Justice League came out the earliest, but it's never gotten the traction that the Batman did. Because everybody saw the Batman go, and of course they ordered this accordingly. So we got Near Mint Plus selling for 10, Near Mint Regular selling for 11. Now look at this. So the 9.8 is the last sale of a 9.8, 45. That right there tells me that people are just trying to dump these books. The highest sale for a 9.8 reached 62, FMV of 54, now selling for 45. We're at the point where we have more books than people are looking for, and this book has already started its little death spiral. This book is going to be off the list. The only reason I think it's on list is people are taking advantage of the low price and grabbing them now because they want to. And quantity, not just value, but quantity will also pop things on the top 20. Next on the list, a book I don't understand why, and I am a Star Wars fan. We have Star Wars The Force Awakens adaptation from 2016, issue number 1, the first appearance of Rey, Kylo Ren, Finn, Unkar Plutt, I don't even know who that character is, General Hux, Captain Phasma, non-hologram. Okay, so the highest 9.8 was in 2022. We've got a sale that just went for 160. Now, I looked at the sales on this, and like a week earlier, there was one for $89.99. So what the heck? I don't know. There are different variations of this book. So it is possible that one of these other variants sold as a 9.8 and the person did a real bad job of listing it. So CovrPrice, when they pulled in the data from the computer thought it was a cover A when maybe it's a ratio variant. Well, one of the 21 and 25s, who knows? But there's no reason that this book should be 160. There was some news for a while that we were getting another reboot in Star Wars with Rey. It looks like that's being shelved or discarded. Now there looks like they're going to be doing another trilogy set further in the future. We may get like an old woman Rey, but we're not going to get a whole Rey Skywalker storyline going forward. You know, they may reference her sort of like an old, like a Yoda or a Jocasta, or like an older character. She's not going to be the main star of it. So even if this book did sell actually for 160, this book has no future. So, and again, and I'm a Star Wars fan, but this book has no future, and I would not go spending $160 on a 9.8. When the last sale was at 90, and I saw another sale that was earlier this year for 60. So no, $15 for near mint. Okay. $90 to $100 for a 9.8, maximum closer to 70 would make me happy. Next on the list, we have Absolute Superman. This book was on the list last week, and look, I love Jim Lee. I said it earlier, but I don't like the angle of this arm. It just doesn't look right to me. But I think Deegan Pecoris once told me that drawing an arm coming forward is one of the hardest things to do. I don't know because I can't draw an arm going in any direction. I can't draw. So it's really hypocritical of me to criticize somebody else's drawing when I can't do anything myself. This book's actually gone up a little bit in price. We've got 9.8s now selling for $280, and the near mint going for $153, couple bucks over FMV. Near mint plus going for $160, couple bucks over FMV. 1-in-100s are very hard to gauge. I mean, stores have to buy 100 copies just so they get one. So they're kind of a set of rules all to themselves. I just try to avoid them. I've never had luck purchasing any of the ones I thought were going to do well. I just think that there are still probably too many of these because this, again, stores were buying a lot of the Absolute Supermans after seeing what happened with Absolute Batman and, to an extent, Absolute Wonder Woman. So I don't think this book has too great of a future. Aliens versus Avengers, issue number 1 from August of this year. Hector Ortiz joining us. How you doing, sir? So this is the new Miles Morales Xenomorph Symbiote Alien costume. It's a mouthful for you. Not the greatest artwork on that cover, let's be honest. But up 32%. And they are currently near mints are selling for $8. FMV of 15, but it's selling for 8. So it's selling for half of its FMV. 9.8s are selling for 60. 9.4s, one just sold for $11. It's a third the cost of grading and shipping. Somebody just wanted to get rid of the book. In July, this sold for July. Wait a minute. Yeah, so somebody pre-purchased a 9.8 for 85, and now it's down to 60. Probably drop a little bit more, unless for some reason we get going forward in comics Miles Morales Xenomorph Symbiote Alien costumes. Not only do we have to see them in the comics, but we have to like it, because if nobody likes it, then it's useless. Yeah, if you want to get a copy for $8, $7 in near mint, go for it. $60 for a slab book. This is not a book I would even bother slabbing, honestly. So it's this is the whatever, in my opinion. Next on the list, we have the Absolute Batman second printing of the Nick Dragata. Sorry. Really good cover on that. The prices were not terrible on this. So $12 for a near mint plus, $13 for a near mint, 65. It's gone up a little bit on the 9.8s. Again, I think when everything is new, it's kind of hyped up. And I don't know how many people ordered the second prints based on how the first print sold out. Probably a lot of people ordered the second, hoping it would lightning would strike again. But again, $12, $13 is not a terrible amount to speculate with. I like that we can try to speculate and take a guess. And if we lose, we're losing $12, not $200, So this one doesn't offend me so much personally. If I went out and bought one and it didn't do great in price. And here we go with the cover A. Finally, the one actually says Absolute Batman in it, so I know it's cover A this time. It says I still own one. Yay. I gave one away too. All right, so the 9.8s have dropped a little bit now. 107 FMV. It's under 100 now, 95. The Near Mint Plus selling for 19, but the Near Mint regular is selling for 33. See, this is why I don't trust Near Mint Plus. Near Mint regular is 9.0, 9.4. That's your best indication of what a good high quality raw is. I think that 33 is going to start dropping if 95 is getting you a 9.8. it doesn't add up to me. Either that 95 has got to go back up, or that raw has got to drop down into the 20s very soon. So I'm leaning towards the 20s very soon. Next up, we have the DC All In Special. This is a wraparound cover. It's good cover too. We got the whole DC All In thing going on. This is the first appearance of Absolute Universe Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. You know, all the characters we've been talking about during this hot list. It's not too bad a price either, though. You're gonna they got the FMV of a 9.8 is at 67. The last sale at 80. That may be an outlier, but it was on the 13th, so there's probably a bunch of stores that are rushing this out right now. Nobody thought enough of it to get it graded in the first place, which means there'll be a glut on the market. Near mints are selling for $14, and Near Mint Pluses is selling for $5. Ha ha, BS. So, this kind of reminds me of the Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate everything else, and how hot that was and how it's not now because that series has come to its conclusion. And unless it continues somehow in canon in what we are currently reading, that storyline becomes something that we forget about until the next Absolute or Ultimate series comes out. So I don't think this is going to go up much anywhere. But that being said, 13, 14 again is not a terrible amount to speculate with. So came out on October 2nd. I mean, it wouldn't break my heart if I saw a copy and I picked it up for 13 and it dropped down to 9. I don't expect it to go up to 15 or 20. It would be just, it is what it is. Number 2 on the list, we have Venom issue number 39, the first cover appearance of the all new Venom. Okay. If the all new Venom, by the way, if it doesn't do well with the fans, with the readers, they'll go back to the old Venom. Just that's the way they do it. This is the first cover appearance, not the first appearance in general, but a good cover. We have Near Mint selling for $5. Cover price. 9.8 slabs back in October 29th, selling for 62. It looks like it's the only sale of a 9.8. So $5. It's a cover price. If everybody loves the character, then and it goes up, okay. This might be your best bet, your best chance, because it's not going to go any lower than $5. That's just the cost of the book. Might be less actually. Just got the price listed there. Sorry, $3.99. So it's actually up from the cover price. I thought everything Marvel prints these days is $7.99. All right, so number 1 on the list, we've got a whole new one here. Forbidden Planet number 1 from Innovation from 1992. And you got the Robbie the Robot on the cover here. It says the official adaptation of the classic motion picture by David Campetti and Derek Gross Sr. I'll be honest, I love the artwork on that. And I have no idea from Innovation Comics in 1992, how many did they actually print? How many people kept these in great condition? I don't know. We've got Near Mints selling for $25 and 9.8 slabs selling for $105. And I see multiple slab sales here. So it tells me that people have had these slabbed. And it's funny, somebody paid $121 on the 16th for a 9.4, and the day before somebody paid $105 for a 9.8. So guys, please remember to double check your prices as your cross shop everything. And if it seems too high, even if it's the only one for sale, don't worry if you don't get it. Just use the money for something else. You're never going to get every single book that goes up. You're never going to, and every book that you have is not going to go up. Some may go down. Just be happy with the collection. I imagine this may have gotten optioned or something, and that's why, or not just optioned, but or it's being remade, or maybe the artist is. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with this. I'm interested to find out why this book is hot. Yes, exactly. Um, I mean, it could be something very similar to the Dave Stevens books, where somebody did a documentary and started talking about it. Um, maybe somebody saw Ryan Reynolds reading it. Who knows? But it's number one on the list, and it's not a terribly expensive book. And what's interesting, again, what is it currently right this minute on eBay? Now that the hot list is out, and this is number one. But Innovation Comics, I don't imagine them pumping out 50,000 issues of this thing, like Marvel does. So keep your eyes open. Maybe you might get lucky, even find it in as you're going through long boxes at your LCS. And if you do, you gotta let me know. I want to find that one out. Drop it out, put that information down in the comments. All right, so now I've got to pick my boom and my bust. My bust is the one that I think is the worst possible investment of the books here at current prices. And my boom, not necessarily a boom, but is the one that I think that has the best chance to go up in value or at least decrease in value the least. So if I think all 20 of these are going to go down in value, which one I think is your best bet to not lose too much money? I'm going to start right off the bat with Bust. And this is a book that I don't like it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but I'm going with that Captain America number 230 because it's a copy of one particular scene that we saw in the trailer of a movie that we don't even know it's going to do well or not. I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be better than Craven. It looks like it's going to be, but we'll see. They're not the fact that they're not saving this for a summer blockbuster and they're still doing reshoots just does not fill me with inspire me with confidence. $500 for a 9.8. I understand this is a book from the 70s, but it's a regular issue Captain America. I don't even know what the census is on this thing. I wouldn't even really want it. I wouldn't if I saw it in a store. I wouldn't give it a second glance. That's my point on that. All right, so now my question is, which one is my boom? I guess you'd say the book that I think has the best chance to, if it not make money, but at least lose the least amount of money. I think it's crazy it might sound. I might go with the Venom number 39 because it's still at cover price in near mint condition. And if this character is embraced, and that's his first cover appearance, it may, go up a little bit in value. I don't think anything on this list is going to shoot through the roof. I don't. But if it goes up to 10 and you got it for 5, you've doubled your money. That's fine. You want to pick up a copy or two? That's cool. But other than that, a very, very lackluster list here where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the 9 of the books, almost half the books are absolute DC related. And I can't complain about that because how many weeks did we have 13 out of 20 books that were all related to one silly little thing in the Marvel universe? So it's fair that they've had their time in the sun. Keep your eyes out for those Forbidden Planets in the long boxes. Check your bookstores if they've got some comic boxes, because that's definitely a book that could have been overlooked and not repriced to a higher price. That's about it. So I'm going to wrap this up so I can go and relax a little bit. Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. We've got our books for giving away this week, and I'm going to quickly show you what they are. So just remind everybody to get over to last week's New Comic Book Day to, we see we've got the Absolute Batman number 1 Noir edition. We have the Arcbound, which I've gotten very positive feedback on, the G.I. Joe number 1, And Psylocke number one, a beautiful art germ cover there. So these are books that are up for the opportunity to win. Just go to last week's New Comic Book Day video and make sure that you like, subscribe, and drop a comment. If you watched it on the live stream and you commented during the live stream, remember the comments get pulled only from the replay. So just type in hi. Doesn't, just keep it clean, keep it comics. That's all I ask. Just something that the random comment generator can yank you into the system. And we will make sure that everybody gets a chance to win some books here, and we have a little bit more fun going forward. Other than that, I want to say thank you to everybody who helps support the channel, and thank you everybody for being here. Until I see you, though, in the next video, mahalo.